Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today on the Community Ledger. Again, my name is Andrea Banu, and so today I wanted to jump in because we have a video of Trump doing a press conference. Yes, a press conference about all of this government fraud. I mean, government spending. So, as you know, Doge and Elon Musk have been combing through all the books, and they found a lot of craziness going on. So, I want to play that video, and I also want to play a video of Miss Maxine Waters saying the quiet part out loud. I can't even speak. Saying the quiet part out loud, okay? Which is giving a little bit of credence to what I suspected, which is that a lot of these Congress people have their hands in the cookie jar. But nonetheless, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, grab yourself a cup of coffee and a snack, and let's go ahead and get into it. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And so I'm not going to do too much talking. I'm going to go right into the press conference so you can hear directly from Trump about how he feels about what they have uncovered with regards to a lot of this wasteful spending. So let's take a look.
Spread fraud and abuse.
Oh, yeah. Tremendous fraud. There's tremendous fraud. And it's hard to believe that you can have that kind of fraud. You're talking about are you talking about what? Wait. Which are you talking? You're talking about with regard to all of the investigations that are going on about this stupidity. What we're going to do is tomorrow I'm having a news conference. I'm going to read to you some of the names that hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars have been given to. And if you tell me that we should be giving money to those things, those entities, I think you'll probably have to leave as a reporter because you're not very talented. When you look at the kind of money, billions and billions of dollars being thrown away illegally, and there's no chance. I mean, I say it in front of our attorney general. There's no chance that there's not kickbacks or something going on. When you give millions and millions of dollars to somebody that stands to look at something for 15 minutes and walks away with millions of dollars, that money's coming back in some form. And that's only one form of corruption. The biggest thing is what they do to our country. They're taking massive amounts of money and spending it on items. I went through a list of 200 expenditures that were made, and I found 3 that looked like they were reasonable.
So, see, you have that. Did you hear him? He said out of 200, he saw maybe 3 that appeared reasonable. And he also mentioned that he felt like there's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of kickbacks. There's a lot of money being made by Congress and these politicians. And they're just, I mean, it just makes no sense with regards to the amount of money that these people are making. And we know when they get into office, they sign on to maybe make 100,000, 200,000 a year. However, once they've been in the position for 2 or 3 years, they're worth millions. And it's like, where is this money coming from? Like, how is this possible? Well, now we know.
Okay, 3. And we'll be talking about that tomorrow. We have a lot of stuff. And I want to commend Elon because he's done he doesn't need this. You know, he's abused by you people every day. He's found more things than anybody could find. I think he's got the credibility to do it. I know he does. And it's his group of people. You know, they started off with 12. I call them 12 geniuses. They started off with 12, and they went to 20 and 25, and now they're up to almost 100. People are joining to help them because there's a massive fraud that's taken place. And then you have judges that are activists, and they sit there and they say, oh, as an example, $59 million going to a little small group in New York City. You get nothing going to North Carolina to help nothing. They say, we don't have any money because they've given it away on the border. But you have nothing. What they did to North Carolina is a shame. And then they sent $59 million to New York City for a hotel for a little bit of what they've done. a hotel that was not luxury, that's getting luxury rates for migrants, where they're making a fortune, and we catch them. We catch them.
And see, that's the thing. A lot of Americans are completely oblivious to the type of stuff that's going on within this government, which is why this is so necessary. And I spoke about it the other day, like $59 million from FEMA went to housing immigrants in New York City. And yet you have all of these people who were displaced, who lost their homes in South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, who could get nothing. FEMA said, we don't have no more money. That is unacceptable. And listen, he says, listen, this is not right. We cannot continue this. And, since he did this press conference, the money has already been blocked. So I did a video a couple days back where I told you, the federal government has already snatched that money back from New York. So, and the people who signed that original check from FEMA, they've since been fired. So the people who went ahead and approved all that money going to New York for migrants have been fired. And the funds have been frozen or taken back so that all of that FEMA money will not be wasted on immigrants and will actually go to natural disasters and Americans who actually need that kind of relief. So this is incredibly important.
But a judge says, well, even though it may be a fraud, you have to send the money in anyway. Send the money. I said, wait a minute. We have money that shouldn't go because we caught it before it was sent out. But they want the money to go anyway. And I think you're going to have a lot of things to look at, Pam. I really do. What's going on with this whole thing. And this is just one group. We haven't talked about Department of Education. We haven't talked about the military. We haven't talked about a lot of things that are very big. And
that's another thing. Before Biden left office, he made sure he pushed and confirmed a lot of these judges so that they would stand in the way of everything that Trump is trying to accomplish in regards to this next term. So you've got a whole nother side of this government thing that is incredibly corrupt. And like I said in my last video, I don't watch Basketball Wives and Housewives of Atlanta and all of that stuff. Me paying attention to what is happening in that White House and in government is scandalous enough. Okay, it is salacious. So this is where I get all of my entertainment, because this stuff is serious. And the truth of the matter is, as fortunate as it is to admit, this actually affects our lives in a real way. A lot of people have been impacted by a lot of the stuff that has happened with regards to immigration. A lot of people are impacted by FEMA not having money to support the citizens during a national disaster. And so this is crazy. Like, we all are working and we all pay our taxes, no matter if you have a 9-to-5, if you're a business owner, no matter what the scenario is with regards to how you make your money, you're paying taxes. You're paying into this stuff, and they're just wasting all of this money. And it's just disheartening to know that you're working so hard and then somebody from Congress is getting a kickback, just throwing up some fake pseudo research project and pocketing all of this money. Now, if we were doing it, then they'd be hauling our asses to jail, but they do it. And it's just, business as usual. It's just unacceptable. And I'm going to go ahead and stop Trump right there, because I want you to, I want you to go ahead and hear what Miss Maxine Waters had to say in regards to Doge and her fears in regards to what Elon Musk now has access to. So let's go ahead and play that.
Drain the swamp. I didn't know the swamp was this dirty and this deep.
You previously said that you would not resign if Trump asked you to do that. Do you stand by that commitment?
I have no changes to that.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Please let the record record that adequately. I appreciate that, because you have a right to your position not to be interfered with by law, I believe, or even Constitution. When Musk comes knocking at the Fed's door, are you going to let him in?
I don't have anything for you on that.
Would you like to tell us today that you won't let Doge into the Federal Reserve or have access to the systems and the data?
So I don't have any, we've had no contact, and I don't really have, have nothing for you to report today on that.
Well, you know what happened at Treasury, and you know what happened over at the CFPB, and the people of this country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us, our bank accounts.
Whoa! Everybody just relax. We knew this was going to happen.
Because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us.
And we don't know what all they have on us.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
712 counts of extortion, 849 counts of racketeering, 246 counts of fraud, 87 counts of conspiracy murder, 527 counts of obstruction of justice. How do the defendants plead? Order in the court.
549 criminals at once.
And my Lord, we're in much more trouble than I ever thought we were.
Oh my goodness, I saw that video earlier today and I was like, I have to react to it and post it. I will definitely put the link in the description of the content creator who posted that, Savati, because it is hilarious. But it hits the nail on the coffin. Miss Maxine Waters said, listen, he gonna know what we've been doing. He's gonna find out what we've been up to. We can't have that. We can't have that. And so it's gonna get real tricky here in Washington, D.C., because they are not used to somebody coming in and combing through the books and digging through papers and pulling skeletons out the closet. They are not used to that, especially when it comes to all this money, okay? They've been making a lot of money off tax-paying dollars. And, when we spend all that money, send all that money to all these other countries, they get kickbacks on that too. All these wars, they make money off all of it. And speaking of wars, I do have another video which I'm going to play because Trump is talking about cutting back on military spending. And that's deep. I've never heard any president talk about cutting back on military spending, but he has stated that he wants to go ahead, or not even that he wants to, he has already started to indulge in conversations with Putin as well as China so that they can denuclearize their weaponry. He's like, listen, we got to stop all these nuclear weapons. We got to stop feuding with each other. If somebody gets angry at the other and somebody lets one of these nuclear weapons off, that's it. Everybody gone. So we gonna have to start talking this out. And that is opposite of the Democratic Party. That is opposite of BlackRock. That is opposite of this military war complex that this country has had. They can't wait to get into war because everybody makes money. And so Trump is not about that. He's not feeling war. You see, once he got in office, they already came to a cease deal over in Israel, and he's trying to shut down this war in Ukraine. So he's already having conversations with Putin so that they can shut that war between them and Ukraine down. He's not trying to send no more money to Ukraine. And he said, listen, I'm trying to come to some sort of peace treaty with Putin as well as China, because this got to stop. And this is incredible. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let me go ahead and play that too.
Other countries want to have a strong United States. They want to have a strong America. And I think it's going to make us very, very strong, much stronger. And we have a lot of work we're doing on the military. Our military already, I've authorized some contracts to be built that are very substantial. We're building the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest military equipment in the world. We're building it. At some point, when things settle down, I'm going to meet with China, and I'm going to meet with Russia, in particular, those two. And I'm going to say, there's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion on military. There's no reason for you to be spending $400 billion. China's going to be at 400 billion. We're at $1 trillion. We're going to be at close to $1 trillion. On the military, our military already.
Do you hear that? We're spending close to $1 trillion a year in military funding, in just defense. China's spending what do you say, 480 million or billion? This is crazy money. What happened to Conflict resolution. What happened to like sitting down in a room and holding a conversation? Like this is crazy. This is crazy amounts of money. Especially since we're not even in war. We're not even at war with nobody. And we spending that kind of money.
Authorize some contracts to be built that are very substantial. We're building the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest military equipment in the world. We're building it. At some point, when things settle down, I'm going to meet with China, and I'm going to meet with Russia, in particular, those two, and I'm going to say there's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion on military. There's no reason for you to be spending $400 billion. China's going to be at 400 billion. We're at $1 trillion. We're going to be at close to $1 trillion. And I'm going to say we can settle this on, we can spend this on other things. We don't have to spend this on military because, and I'm going to be meeting with China. You know, we were trying to de-escalate nuclear, and I was in a position where Russia had agreed and China had agreed we were going to start, and then we had a rigged election, so that never took place. But this one was too big to rig. We won by so much that it was too big to rig.
You want to do the China meeting in the United States, or would you travel to China for that?
For what?
A China meeting. Would you do that here?
I tell people all the time, you know, the question is who's going to have the first meeting, where are you going to, I say this to Putin, to President Xi, I say to everybody, never bothered me, you know, I'm willing to say I'll go first. It doesn't matter. It's the end result that counts.
See, and for me personally, I can't do nothing but respect that. I can't do anything but respect that. I mean, that's what a leader's supposed to do. Okay, a leader's like, listen, if I got to go over there to China and hold a conversation, so be it. He don't want to come to me, no problem. I'll go there. I'll be the first to open up the lines of communication. All that matters is the end result. And if the end result means no war, no wasted spending, everybody just pull back in regards to all this nuclear weaponry, that's all that matters to me. I mean, how could you not respect that? I mean, you have so many people who don't want to hear nothing about Trump. They can't, don't talk to me about Trump. Don't talk to me about Trump. It's like, dude, are you even listening to what is happening right now? Are you even aware of the level of danger that we were under with regards to this Biden administration? Do you even conceive of where we could be had Kamala gotten into office? And this man is literally trying to talk to two superpowers, Russia and China, and say, listen, let's sit down like men and hold a conversation. If I got to be the first one to hold that conversation, so be it. Put your pride aside. We got to stop all this, okay? Everybody's losing money, and we can't just, annihilate everybody. We're going to have to try to figure something out. And listen, I can't do nothing but respect it again. And then let me get over here because I do want to show you that the Bloomberg actually addressed it as well. So I'm going to read that to you. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit so that you can see a little bit better. Okay, yes. Okay, so here we have it here. It says Trump floats deal with Russia, China to cut defense spending. Let's get that out of the way. Okay. President Donald Trump floats the idea of a three-way meeting with the leaders of Russia and China in which the countries would agree to cut defense spending in half. When have you heard that? When have you heard an American president talking about cutting the defense spending in half? Never heard it. Trump, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office Thursday, suggested repeatedly that he'd seek such a deal with Presidents Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, saying the money could be spent better elsewhere. Preach. Okay. One of the first meetings I want to have is with President Xi of China, President Putin of Russia, Trump said. And I want to say, let's cut our military budget in half. And we can do that. And I think we'll be able to do it. The comments topped off another one of the freewheeling press interactions that have become so common in the first week of Trump's second term. Such deep cuts in defense spending would fundamentally reshape U.S. military posture around the world and face sharp pushback from U.S. contractors and lawmakers whose states benefit from billions of dollars in defense spending every year. Absolutely. So you're going to get pushback, like you said, from contractors who are making money. Now, I'm not sure if anybody else knew about this, but I remember reading that right before Biden left office that he approved a lot of these contracts and contractors to go in and rebuild in Ukraine. Okay, so not only did we send all that money to Ukraine, now he's approved contractors, okay, government contractors to go in Ukraine and rebuild all those buildings that we funded to be blown up, all those streets, all of that. You think he ain't making no money off that? You think he not getting no money off that? Yeah. Okay, Trump's views also underscored how willing he is to upend standard foreign policy craft in Washington. He has made no secret of his desire for closer ties with Russia and China, two U.S. adversaries. He sparked an uproar this week by having a phone call with Putin to start talks on ending the Ukraine war. Now, how are you in an uproar that this man wants to end a war? How were you upset that he got on the phone and was like, listen, we need to talk about this. We need a whole conversation about this. Like, do you realize how many people have been displaced? How many people have been killed? How many people who have lost their loved ones? And you mad because he wanna end it? He sparked an uproar this week by having a phone call with Putin to start talks on ending the Ukraine war. U.S. allies in Europe said any such talks must take place with Ukraine's participation. Why do Ukraine need to participate? They ain't funding that war. We funding that war. Whoever write the check need to be the one having a conversation. Okay? If you ain't winning and you ain't funding nothing, you just need to sit down and let us work. Okay? And once we decide this is what it is, then you just be on board. As long as you still got a little bit of country left, you still in leadership, you don't have to have no more lives lost. We're going to have to come to an agreement. Okay? Ukraine don't need to participate in that. What if Ukraine say no? We not going to listen, right? Putin not going to listen. The people who making the moves and paying the bill and paying the tab need to be the ones making the decision. And Ukraine just... Zelensky just making way too much money off this. We have spent way too much money there, and it's time to end. Okay, it's time to end. It's time for all that money that we send into Ukraine to be cut off. It's also far from certain that China or Russia would agree to such cuts, given how U.S. defense spending of about $850 billion dwarfs their annual outlays. China was forecast to spend about $230 billion on defense in 2024 and is in the middle of a major military expansion. Russia's 2024 defense budget has grown significantly since the start of the war in Ukraine, but was still about half that. When asked about Trump's remarks at a regular press briefing in Beijing on Friday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Gu Jiakun said the limited national defense spending of China is what is needed to defend its national sovereignty, security, and development interests, and what is needed to safeguard world peace. We're spending the money against each other, and we could spend that money for better purpose if we get along, Trump said later Thursday at a press conference with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And I'll tell you, I think that something like that will happen. Do you hear this? Like, what a concept. He said, we're spending the money against each other, and we could just save a bunch of money if we could just go ahead and just be friends. like if we just go ahead and be friends, don't nobody gotta die. We ain't gotta waste all this money, and like let's figure this out. Like, let's be partners in this. Like, why we gotta be enemies? Oh my goodness. I mean, wow. Okay, Trump also suggested that Russia ought to be brought back into the group of seven, the world's leading industrialized nations, which currently include the US, Germany, Italy, Japan, Canada, France, and the UK. Russia was suspended from the group after it invaded Crimea in 2014 and formally left the group 3 years later. It still would be helpful to have Russia be a part of that mix, Trump said. And I think if they were, I don't think you would have had the problem that you had. So, listen, I'm all for real conversation. Like, I mean, how can you be mad at that? How can you be mad at somebody wanting to end conflict? You know, and the truth of the matter is, he may not be able to solve everything. He may not be able to even, be at peace with Putin or even with China. But at the same time, at least we can kind of keep some things at bay. Everything don't have to be so hot. We don't have to be on the brink of World War III, where, only the millionaires and the billionaires and the powers that be get in their bunker and sail off into the sunset, and the rest of us are like decimated. Okay? No, that's not what needs to happen. And when he says make America first again, to me, that is what you're doing. You're trying to protect your citizens. You're trying to protect your country from being destroyed by all of these outside nations unnecessarily. So I'm all for it. Like I'm in agreement of it, and I think that's what real leadership looks like. You have to be able to take a stand. As you know, with his first term, he was not an advocate of war. He did not have a war on his dime and during his first term, and he's trying to make it in right now. He is not a pro-war advocate. He is not about that life, and that is not why they like him. That is why they do not like him. Okay, all of these Democrats, all of these bureaucrats, they are about war because it is incredibly profitable and they make a lot of money on it, and they don't give a damn about the lives that are lost. And it's a new day, and I am grateful and I am thankful. And again, like I've said in many, 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 many videos, Trump does not have to be everything. You do not have to like him, but at the very least, it gives us in our community an opportunity to get our stuff together and not be bombarded by wars and chaos and crime in our communities and immigrants and all this other craziness that is inflicting a lot of stress and pain and economic strain on us as a whole. And so for me, it's a good thing. And I know 4 more years under Biden would have been insane. 4 more years, a single 30 days under Kamala would have been diabolical. And so I am grateful that at this moment in time, this man has done more in 30 days than the last 3 presidents, as far as I'm concerned. So anyways, I do, again, thank you so much for joining me. I want to continue this conversation. Please do jump into the comments and tell me what your opinion is. How do you feel about Doge going into the books and combing through? Do you genuinely think that some of these congressmen are getting kickbacks? Do you think that, there's a lot of fraud going on, and that's what Democrats are trying to hide and keep Doge and Trump from delving into? And I also want to find out what your opinions are on him cutting military spending. Do you really believe that we need to continue to fund all of these soldiers and all of these wars all over the world? Do you think that we need to be spending more than every other country on planet Earth just to protect ourselves? Or is having a real conversation like men, like adults, about how we can settle our differences in a more peaceful way, a more diplomatic approach? So again, if you have not subscribed yet, please do so right now. Like and make sure you hit that bell button so you can get notified anytime I upload new videos and information. And again, my name is Andrea Banu, and this is the Community Ledger. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and watch the next video by clicking right here.